delighted to welcome to Property Tribes Ed Akay, who is co-founder of the Torbay Property Meet. And Ed, this interview came about because you very kindly invited me onto your event as the kind of guest speaker. And I was so impressed by what you've got going on with your meet that I wanted to turn the tables and bring you onto Property Tribes and interview you, because I think you've got a lot of interesting things to say. So first of all, congratulations on your meet. I think the format's absolutely brilliant, and I'm going to talk about that. But first of all, Ed, could you give us a little bit of a backstory of how you founded the meet and why you founded it?
Yeah, of course. Well, firstly, thank you very much for having me, Vanessa. It's a real honour to be on Property Tribes. So, in a nutshell, it basically started in its first incarnation back in 2019. Myself and the co-founder, Mel, who's no longer involved, but she played a significant contribution developing the event for, you know what, there's no event in Torbay, which, for those that don't know, Torbay is, if you like, a sub-county of Devon, consists of Torquay, most famously, Paynton and Brixham. It's an area, you know, full of investment properties. And we thought, well, there's no one having a meet in our area. I had a fair bit of public speaking experience. Why don't we just found one? So what we did, we rung up every single venue in the area and said, can we put on an event for free? One of them agreed. It was called the Chelston Manor Hotel. And then we basically started off as a free event back in January 2019. And it sort of grew organically from there. The aim was quite simple, really. Give the area a meet and not have lots of irritating sales pitches, which we were aware were putting people off other property events. And it gradually grew. We upgraded the event, as I call it, to the best hotel in Torquay. Not that I'm being biased in the slightest. A hotel called the Imperial, where we started to attract more of a national audience. And since going online due to COVID, we've had attendees from all around the country, like yourself. And it's very much a grassroots event. You know, we're independent. We have a core number of attendees who come every month, and we always look to expand it and attract new blood, as they say. So that's how much started, very much a grassroots organic event by and for the property community in an area full of buy-to-lets.
Fantastic. Well, as I say, I love the format because you have two key speakers, and then you have what you call breakout rooms, where people can go in to individual rooms and talk to the people that they want to network with. And I think that gives it such an authentic experience in the lack of being able to actually meet in person, face to face. You still have the networking element to it, and you also have the educational element to it as well. And I'm sure, you know, we'll all agree that during even before COVID, education and networking was really, really important. But I think it's become even more so now. And I think your event did great service connecting the property community during what were challenging times for a lot of people.
Well, definitely. And I think actually as well, you've identified the breakout room element, which for those people that don't know, it's basically when you run an event, you generally run it on Zoom like we're doing now, but on a much larger scale. A breakout room is where you give people the opportunity to talk a bit more face to face. And I suppose it's a way of making it a bit more personal, as you've identified, and sort of try and replicate the idea of speaking to someone one-to-one as much as you can. Let's not beat about the bush. You can't beat the real thing, you know, because you can obviously observe people's reactions a lot better, you know, obviously face-to-face, not on a screen. But, you know, we try to make it as authentic as possible. And it has been challenging times. It's been challenging for the industry. I mean, if you're more of a people person, it's been horrible for some people, I know, but we've just done our best to bring people together and obviously keep the educational element of, as you've said. And people have more time now in many ways. So I think you could say COVID's almost like downtime for a lot of people, and it's a good time to increase knowledge. And we do our best to provide that sort of service with speakers like yourself who are very knowledgeable.
Thank you, Ed, and I appreciate what you're trying to do with your event from the integrity point of view, because you're not having speakers that are going to tell you that you're going to be a millionaire in a year with no money, which of course would attract a very big audience. You're actually going what I would say is the harder but more sustainable road to have actually authentic, experienced people talking about issues, which landlords need to know about. Some of them aren't particularly exciting. They can be a little bit dry sometimes, but it's the knowledge that we need, and you've put that together in a really robust package with the networking and the guest speakers. And I also wanted to compliment you and Helen, your excellent hosts. And I think, I can only commend what you're trying to do. And I really hope that you are able to grow it going forward, because there is a lack of these type of events, I think. And it's interesting because you've monetized it quite similar to Property Tribes. Our platform is free. You charge a nominal entry fee to the event, but then you've got your little ecosystem of sponsors who support the event, and you also have a charitable element as well. So I think the whole way you've set it up and your aims for it are full of integrity.
Well, thank you very much for that. So, and that was the idea, really. Basically, myself and the event's co-founder were sick and tired of going to events where the aim was just to sell, sell, sell. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not actually against property training. I want to make this very, very clear. There's some great property trainers out there. But one thing we did notice was if an event becomes purely about selling property training, it puts off more experienced people like yourself, actually. Say if somebody has a large portfolio of buy-to-lets or they're an experienced developer, the last thing they want is to listen to someone rant about property training, at a networking event. It's going to annoy them. It's going to put them off, quite frankly. And so what we aimed to do was to provide an environment where the focus is actually on networking. And that's what it's for. It's by and for the property community in our area. Well, not so much our area now. It's become, perhaps due to COVID, more of a national event on a small scale, of course. And, we rely on the support of the small business community. We've got 4 fantastic sponsors, 3 of which are actually based in Torbay. And all we want to do is just to bring people together and focus on networking, because at the end of the day, you do business with people you know, like, and trust. And a great way to get to know people is via a networking event. And if we sort of have some, shall we say, boundaries at our networking event, then we make sure we attract the right sort of people. And also anyone coming to our event, they know what it's about. They know what they're not going to get, for want of a better word. And I think we all know what you're not going to get at the Torbay Property Meet by now. We actually had a bit of a joke, actually, and we actually produced a social media image calling ourselves the event the Furus love to hate. all tongue in cheek, actually, all tongue in cheek. But joking aside, though, anyone's always welcome, and we really value the input, in particular, of small businesses.
Well, I think that's a badge of honour. The event that the Furus love to hate, to be honest. So, Ed, I think you're a very entrepreneurial young man. You're a property developer yourself. I could see this event almost being franchised across the UK, the format and the technology and how you have the breakout rooms and everything. I think it would be wonderful if lots of other people in their area followed your example and set up these local events, because obviously after COVID, the kind of more national element will start to probably reduce a little bit when you go back to face-to-face meetings. And I think there's tremendous value, as we've been saying, in meeting within the local community, meeting local landlords, etc. And that's a good thing. So I think you could actually kind of be like a blueprint for these kind of community ecosystem events starting up across the country.
Well, funnily enough, actually, Vanessa, watch this space. We are looking to sort of expand it, and we're going to actually expand into another city in our area. We're going to we're going to basically keep the online element of the event. It'd be a bit of a shame not to really, you know, when we go back face to face. So watch this space. There'll be some very special announcements soon. And, you know, we look forward to putting you on at our sister events.
Fantastic. Talking of the kind of online version of the event, it has enabled you to, as you say, bring in speakers from outside of the area. Now, for me, I love your part of the world and I have an interest in holiday lets. So there was a natural synergy for me to be able to talk about holiday lets. So there was lots of good synergy there. But you're actually having your first international speaker in April. And that is our dear friend Aviram from Lendlord, who's going to be joining you from Tel Aviv. And that's another, you know, kind of step forward for you as well, isn't it? And Aviram's going to be talking about how to live a digital landlord life.
Well, we're really honoured to be hosting him, and it feels really surreal. You know, we always joke, our first venue got given the, shall we say, quite insulting nickname, 40 Towers, after the sitcom from the 70s. People used to joke about it, but you know, you got to start somewhere. And now we're hosting a CEO of a very well-respected platform all the way from Tel Aviv. And I think it's a real testament to how the event's grown. To think that, you know, we used to struggle to basically fill a tiny room, to think we're now getting that caliber of speaker.
Well, very well deserved. And we will put a link underneath this video where you can sign up to the April Torbay property meet to see what Ed's got going on online, and also to see Abraham of Lendlord speaking about how to become a digital landlord. So Ed, just very quickly as we wind this up, obviously this is something that you do on the side. What are you doing in your day-to-day property world?
Well, at the moment, I'm actually building a luxury bungalow in a place called East Devon, which is very different from Torbay. I think we were discussing it earlier. It was something I actually fought a real battle to get planning permission for. It was on a site with 2 previous refusals, and there was a lot of local opposition. But actually, it was also a testament to some tenacity of mine in terms of I did a lot of lobbying to get it through. I lobbied local politicians. I negotiated with the local objectors. And the area I'm building in just hasn't changed at all, shall we say, in the past, well, God knows how long, 30 odd years. So to actually, you know, build something is viewed as quite radical. It got a lot of bad press at the time, actually, until I sort of gradually won over the local objectors. But yeah, it's a luxury bungalow, you know, eco-friendly, energy efficient, and in a very, very nice part of Devon. And I think actually as well, due to COVID, there's a lot more demand for homes now in this neck of the woods. I think you said it actually when you spoke at the Torbay property meet, how this part of the country is going to become very desirable for investors. Would you agree yourself?
Well, I do, and there's just been some intel in the media today about how people's priorities of living have changed massively through COVID, and one of the biggest beneficiaries of this kind of shift is coastal property, because people realise that they can work from home most of the week, and they only maybe need to commute in once or twice a week or a month, and you know, people are looking for better lifestyles. I think COVID's definitely brought that into sharp focus, and we are hearing of, you know, southwest coast property, southeast coast property going through the roof in demand, and also the other thing obviously is outside space and access to outside space, and your area, you know, it ticks all of those boxes, and there is also the option of holiday lets as well. So will you be selling this bungalow on, or are you going to live in it? What are your plans for it?
It'll basically depend on the market. Either way, you know, you could basically, you know, buy and hold or sell, depend on the market. And obviously, I don't want to make a decision on that particular thing now due to the uncertainty with COVID. But you know, I'll just talk a bit more about it. It's got sea views. It's in, you know, one of the nicest parts of East Devon, and actually got featured in the Architects Journal when I first got the planning for it. But yeah, it's something I'm going to make a decision on later on.
Well done, Ed. You're such an entrepreneurial young man, and I know that you really care about our sector. You've co-founded the Danny Butcher Foundation with Andrew Burgess, and you're really seeking to help raise standards within the property education sector. And I just think you're a shining example of somebody that's trying to do the right thing, and I tip my hat to you.
Thank you very much, Vanessa, and thank you very much for speaking at our event and having me. Appreciate it a lot.
I enjoyed it so much, Ed. I really did. I loved meeting your gang, your regulars, lots of knowledgeable people on there. And as I say, I just really liked the format, the way you hosted it. So I'm really hoping that we can help drive a few more visitors to your event via this video. We will put the link underneath to the April event, which is the one with Avram Shah from Landlord, who's going to be speaking there. But for now, Ed, all that remains is for me to wish you all the best with everything that you're doing, and just to say, you know, you'll always have the support of Property Tribes.
Thank you very much, Vanessa.
Cheers.
Looking forward to hosting you again soon.
I'll look forward to it.
Cheers now. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.